children from, for example, Kalangala, Buvuma, to Naguru and Kampiringisa. This is very costly for them, yet they are not funded very well. So I think, to the committee chairperson, I would request you add that recommendation that, yes. And also, Madam Speaker, when we talked about local councils, the people in charge of children affairs are the secretaries for children affairs. That is the deputy chairperson of a village. This, I think, brings us back to wanting to elect these people into those positions again, and we make them legal such that they help us with this issue of parenting. Then finally, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I thank my honorable colleague for the elaborate report, only that a few aspects have been left out. And because this side where I stand is supposed to check you, I am obliged to do so. Madam Speaker, he gave us a good report. Like I said, he left out some that I am going to throw more light on. One, I want to thank you that you're going to connect all the districts and inclusive of the islands, because our network connection is really bad. We thank you for that, and we believe it is going to happen soon for security purposes. Madam Speaker, allow me read this verbatim.
Please.
We have very many challenges when it comes to this phase.
You read your document.
Thank you so much. I'm going to only read the challenges, Madam Speaker, or the emerging issues from his report. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the UN Trade and Development, which is an intergovernmental organization within the United Nations Secretariat that promotes the interests of developing countries in the world trade, warned about the climbing debt burden of the low developing countries, Honorable Minister. And it also states that it undermines the service delivery, especially when it comes to education and health issues. Their debts have not only grown, that is the debts of the low developing countries, but also become costlier and riskier. Between 2011 and 2019, low developing countries debt service it tripled to 33 billion US dollars, which represents between 5% and 13% of the value of their exports. The pandemic has exacerbated the situation with LDCs, that is the low developing countries, debt repayment set to hit 43 billion US dollars in 2022. Such a burden will jeopardize their COVID-19 recovery efforts and sap the public funds needed to fight poverty and invest in essential infrastructure such as roads and hospitals. Honorable Minister, we are very much aware that Uganda's history when it comes to debt repayment is not as good. And even when we get loans or acquire loans and this parliament passes loans, we don't use them accordingly. We mismanage these funds. So I am not sure if this UDAB or this phase, we are going to use that loan properly. I invite you, honorable colleague, to make sure the ministry uses this money appropriately to best serve Ugandans. There is also an issue of lack of insufficient staff. Now that the NITA-U has been rationalized, this project is very big. It is a very big one, and you have limited staff. I want to know from this side how you are going to, I want to know how you're going to handle this project with limited staff, because it looks huge and it's going to serve the entire nation. Then also there is an issue of the confusion between UTEL and Soliton. How have you managed to get to phase 5 without solving this issue of UTEL and Soliton? I need for you to give us that information. Then, Honorable Minister, there is a problem here. There is lack of coordination and linkage with other regional institutions. You will find that NIRA will have information about a member of parliament, and when you want to access it elsewhere, you may not get access because there is no interconnection. And you also talked about 300 Wi-Fi hotspots. Madam Speaker, we are aware that we have about 580 Wi-Fi hotspots said to be functioning or operational, but they are not, Honorable Minister. I will implore you, Honorable Minister, to get your phone, if you can, and look for My UG. It is one of those networks you say are functional and are operating. I would need for you to help me get your phone, access My UG, and you see if you'll get connected. You will not. And this is supposed to be in the urban centers. We are saying we have 580 spots that are connected, but it's not working. So now how sure are we that the 300 are going to work, that they are going to be connected and our people get the service required? So I need for you to clarify on that. Then there is also an issue, Madam Speaker, of lack of coordination among the different ministries. For example, if the Ministry of ICT wants to, connect the NBI, they will have to dig. They will have to go through the roads. And you will find a road has just been constructed, but now you want to put through a line. Why don't you coordinate with the other ministries to see? I mean, there is no coordination between the maybe Ministry of Works and Transport and ICT. You will find that we are destroying a road. Last time my car got issues because I hit a hump that was just put that I wasn't aware of because there was an NBI passing. So for me, a fiber. So I think you should work hand in hand. The ministry should be able to work hand in hand such that the people of Uganda get the service required. Madam Speaker, with that said, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.
And I request the Minister to give me the response. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Like a colleague said, Mr. Speaker, the budget should speak to the people and it should be people-centered. Mr. Speaker, it does not specify or it does not show or include the money to fund fuel for ambulances on the lake. We are grateful we got both ambulances to help our people in the islands, all islands, by the way, Buvuma, Mp-Kalangala. But unfortunately, these have not been funded. We don't have fuel. A boat cannot consume water, Mr. Speaker, to take somebody from one island to the next or to either Entebbe or a main hospital. So I don't know what these were thinking about procuring ambulances without fuel. We were even thinking they should give them to some of us to use them as maybe tourism boats or leisure boats. What are they doing? They're just parked somewhere and they are not helping our people. Actually, I think government should rethink about giving island districts hospitals, because if you buy an ambulance and this ambulance has to take people from Kalangala to Entebbe to get a hospital, it means, and you have not given us fuel, it means you should construct hospitals for these island districts for people to access health care. And then, Mr. Speaker, Kalangala district is next to Masaka, one of the main roads from Bukakata is a ferry. But that thing is very small for government to construct a bridge. What are you thinking about, Mr. Msasizi? What are you thinking about that? Can't you, in your, can't we?
Order. Honorable Msasizi.
Mr. Speaker, I need protection from...
You're causing yourself
Mr.
trouble.
Speaker, I apologize, Honorable Msasizi. Please go back, sit down, look at Kalangala as a business center, as a district that has people that we represent, and give us a bridge. It is just about 4 kilometers. We're tired of dying on the lake as we cross over from there to here. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I rise on a matter of national importance regarding a disaster that happened in my area, Kalangala. On the 2nd of October, that was Monday, we had a heavy downpour, and a number of 78 people lost their property, including houses and different belongings, and also crops, animals. And this was in Moena landing site in Kalangala Town Council. Mr. Speaker, we have a total number of 34 females, 25 males, 11 children, and 8 elderly people. And my prayers, Mr. Speaker, one, for the Prime Minister's office to go to ground and assess the level at which this affected our people. And secondly, for the very first time in the history of Uganda, for Kalangala to get relief items, because we have never gotten any from this government. Yes, relief items. I represent Kalangala. I know what I'm saying. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for your opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, and we thank the chairperson for the report. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about limited funds, I think it is unfair to the national medical stores because government is supposed to do this for the entire country. But if these people keep crying and singing this song, it is unfair to all of us. I think that is why they even end up procuring small-size condoms for our people.
How do you know that the condoms were small size?
Mr. Speaker, I am the voice for the people of Kalangala.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, I beg for your protection. I am the voice for the people of Kalangala. And they tell me this. The fishermen tell me that the condoms are very small in size. They don't fit them. So, and yet we are fighting HIV. So for me, it is a worry. And then secondly, Mr. Speaker, when we come to the legal issue, you cannot say that the arm is incompetent that is being used. That means there is something being done, something wrong that is happening in the National Medical Store. Maybe they hire firms that are incompetent in order to lose and we, look stupid. How does, for example, Parliament have a legal firm that is incompetent? How? So how does the National Medical Stores have somebody is disturbing me, incompetent legal firms to handle their cases? For me, I think this is something we need to look into and investigate as Parliament to avoid losses for the government. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. And I also want to thank the Minister for giving us that report. Madam Speaker, coming from the islands, allow me to speak about the islands in regard to the national ID renewal. Most of our people have not accessed this because of, I think, the distance between the islands. And when it comes to extortion, Madam, excuse me. When it comes to extortion, this one in our islands comes in a way that people have to travel from one island to get to where these kids are. And they are asked to give in some money. They say, if
if we cannot access you, give us money such that we can get to where you are. So they say the office has not given them enough money to travel from their office to go to where the people are.
From one island to the
Yes.
other island.
And
So,
some,
Minister, you need to make sure that these people reach to the local person down there.
thank you so much, Madam
Thank
Speaker.
you. There's info.
And I also want to thank the Minister for giving us the report and for being a brilliant man. No wonder he comes from Sese Islands, Madam Speaker. On page 418, there is what my brother, Honorable Okeo, talked about, the multinational Lake Victoria Maritime Communication and Transport Project. Communication, Madam Speaker, is about rescue centers and rescue boats. Government has so far bought rescue boats. The rescue centers have not yet been constructed. One in Misonzi, in my area, Kalangala, the contractor was withdrawn. He was not given the contract because he failed. I would like to know from the minister how far you are with getting another contractor to construct the rescue center in Misonzi. And then, Madam Speaker, why do we want to have rescue centers? It is because we want to rescue our people from accidents on the lake. Unfortunately, we are not looking at marking dangerous spots on the lake. You one time guided that I talked to the minister about it. I did, but nothing has yet been done. We need to find a solution. If we want to remove this problem, my apologies. The solution, the Honorable Minister, is for us to mark the dangerous spots on Lake Victoria to avoid getting these accidents. Also, Madam Speaker, we need to survey the lake. Lake Victoria was last surveyed in 1955. If we don't do this, accidents are going to happen. We shall have the rescue centers. They are going to rescue dead bodies. So we need to have the rescue centers, but also survey the lake to ensure we don't get the accidents. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the committee for the very good recommendations, especially in the fishery sector, where I come from. And I want to commend you for including fuel for the FPU in the operations on the lake. It is very unfortunate that some of our fishermen are asked for fuel on a monthly basis. It is supposed to be given to the FPU to carry out their operations. They say they don't have enough. So when you include that in the recommendations, we are grateful. But I'm also thinking this is robbery during broad daylight, because if you ask the people you're supposed to do operations for money, it is unfair to them. Then also, Mr. Speaker, in the committee recommendations, you talked about seedlings, but I represent a fisheries community. They don't do, most of them don't do agriculture farming. They do fish farming, thank you, but they don't do crop and animal. Not all of them, of course. But I thought we would also get an idea of the fishermen being given fishing nets. You see, when you give the farmers seedlings, it is also important that you do not leave out the fishermen and women. I implore government to give the fishermen fishing gears, like the fishing nets, and also maybe reduce on the subsidize on the taxes on the fishing gears, like the engines that they use, because an engine now, Mr. Speaker, of 15 horsepower is about 9-10 million Uganda shillings one. And fishing nets are very expensive. That is why actually they go into illegal fishing, because the illegal fishing methods brought into the country are cheaper than those that are legal. So if we could also implore government to ensure that the fishermen in Uganda are also considered, apart from the fishery fund that we are advocating for, also give them free fishing nets to ensure that also the fishermen are enjoying their life in the country. Thank you so much, and thank you, Honourable Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Honourable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your statement. I want to first of all congratulate the people of Kalangala and you, Honourable Minister, for allowing the people of Kalangala to access electricity, being connected to the national grid, and thank you very much. Unfortunately, we were using solar power, and we had electricity from morning to morning. But with this connection, it is very disturbing. We do not have power. It is on and off. The power supply is on and off, and it is a disturbance to the people of Kalangala, and especially the business community. Mr. Speaker, we are connected to the line from Villa Maria, which goes through